Hi all, Violet here, second generation homeschooling mom of 3. I have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and an infant. Today I wanted to show you the art program that we've been using with my 7-year-old daughter. So this is Artistic Pursuit's newest edition, the grades K through 3 series. It's an 8-volume series that's supposed to cover kindergarten through 3rd grade. We actually opted to start this program in 1st grade. So you do 2 books each year, 1 book per semester. So she did volumes 1 and 2 in 1st grade, and then this year she's finished volume 3, she just finished it, and then we'll be doing volume 4. So let's start with a look at volume 1. This program, you can jump into it anywhere, but they recommend that you do volume 1 first, no matter where you jump into this program, because a lot of the concepts and vocabulary and different tools that they'll be using later on in the program, they introduce here. So this book is foundational for the rest of the books in the series. All books in this series include a DVD. Not every lesson is on the DVD. So each book has 18 lessons, and of those 18 lessons, 6 of them are DVD lessons. And they usually do a DVD lesson every time they introduce a new medium or a new technique. So the first lesson in every book is always a video lesson because they're introducing something right off the bat. So in this book, it's watercolor crayons, and then they do several projects involving watercolor crayons. So let me show you a closer look. The inside here. Here's the supply list of everything that you need. And both the Artistic Pursuits website and also the Rainbow Resource website have supply packs where you can just purchase everything all at once. So you have it all ready to go. So each lesson is set up like this with what you're going to need to gather before you start the lesson here, and then instructions for the lesson. Because this is a video lesson, the instructions are very minimal. But for another one of the non-video lessons, they have some prep that you should read before your child does this, and then it has a little bit of an introduction, and then it has art history. So for this art history, they tell you a little bit about the painting and then have questions to go through with your child with the painting. Then they have a project related to the painting. And they have here, again, the materials you need to gather and then instructions for doing the project. And then they always have at least 2 samples. The instructor sample with whatever you're focusing on highlighted. So this one, they're really looking at how they've arranged the buildings. And then they'll have an example from a student who is around the age of the student they would be expecting to do this book. My daughter finds that very helpful, especially the comparison between these two, because she can be a bit of a perfectionist sometimes. So having an example of someone her age that she can look at her art and go, oh wow, I did a similar job, I'm doing great art, is really, really motivating for her. So then this is the very last lesson in this book. You can see again, there's information about the painting and then a few more questions to ask. And then your child is going to draw a self-portrait. So you can see here, this lesson really shows you how much instruction they provide at this age. Artistic Pursuits is very process art focused, so they don't provide a ton of instruction on how to specifically draw each part of the face. They'll get to that when the kids are older, but right now they're really focusing on the child's observation skills. So they provide a little bit of instruction in how to set up the face so that the proportions look right, but that's not the focus of this lesson. The focus of this lesson is adding details to make it look like you. So that's really good for my daughter. The amount of instruction they have really helps her feel like she's doing real art. A lot of the time when she is doing art where every step is, okay, first you draw this exactly this way, then you draw it exactly this way, and it's a walkthrough that's very detailed like that, it makes her feel more like she's doing like a craft or something, not like her own art where she's making the decisions about that. So the amount of instruction they provide in this program is a good level for us, where it's teaching her new techniques, and she's definitely learning more about how to draw things that she's observing in a more lifelike way as she observes them. But it also isn't holding her hand with everything and making her feel like she's not making any decisions about the art. So this volume, volume 2, it starts the historical series. The rest of the volumes go in order historically. So it has a little bit of a historical note here to introduce the video, or to introduce the book. And then the video lesson is about soft pastels, which they're introducing for the first time. And then after that, it gets into historical artifacts and pieces of art. So cave drawings, they do sculptures, they do some Egyptian art, Roman art, all of that. And then this book ends with mosaics. One of the projects you do a little bit before the end, it's not quite the last lesson, is another portrait project. And again, they give you a bit of instruction about how to draw the face, but not a ton, because you're really focusing on drawing a picture that's big enough that you can see all the features of the face. And that's the aspect they're working on, not necessarily how they're all placed on the face. So this level of detail and instruction works really well for my daughter. And it's interesting too for her to compare her self-portrait she did at the end of volume 1 with that picture she did near the end of volume 2 and see how much she's improved already just with regular art practice. All right, so this is volume 3. It's intended for first grade. We're doing it in second grade. We finished it. Again, it has the DVD. Here's the table of contents. This one has a lot of weaving, which my daughter really enjoyed. There's the material list. And then historical note, the first video lesson, and then it goes on from there. So this volume is medieval art, and it's specifically medieval Europe. So they don't cover any non-European countries from this point on. The ancient art had a couple of Egyptian artifacts, but it was a lot of Greece and Rome. That's my one main complaint with this series, that it's very Eurocentric. So while, for example, in this book, when they do talk about religious artifacts, like stained glass windows, for example, near the end, they do write about it in a way that is secular, but so far at least there has not been any religious art that wasn't specifically Christian religious art. Here's the next volume. You can see the table of contents there. Materials list. Historical note in the first video lesson. Introducing watercolor. And then you can see now that the information about each artist and each painting is getting longer. So they're incorporating more and more art history as the child gets older and is able to absorb more stuff. So that's cool. I do like how they incorporate the art history right into the projects. It makes it easy for me to just open this, and it has everything we need for art. It has the art history, it has introducing the child to different mediums. They do scratch paper here. Here's the very last project. There's a painting that goes with it. And it also has art techniques. As they get farther along, it introduces more techniques of like, here's how you draw a realistic looking face, here's how you draw a realistic looking figure. But at this level, they don't focus on that a whole ton because a lot of kids don't have the manual dexterity or fine motor skills to really do that. It would just frustrate them. So they include enough of that that kids can be successful at art, but not so much that they're overwhelmed. So this is Welcome to the Northern Countries. It's specifically Northern European countries. And this one has a lot of printing, which I'm excited to do. I think that'll be really fun. So you can see the historical information about the artist and about the painting is longer still. And the very last, here's the very last project in this book, incorporating several different techniques that they've covered in this book to make a 3D art project. Oh, I forgot to mention this earlier, but every book has at the end the objectives for each lesson and then credits for where they got the art and the information about the artist and the history. So these objectives could be really helpful if you are living in a state where you have to report. I don't ever do anything with them, but they're also helpful for just at a glance seeing what your child will learn in each volume. This is volume 6. Here's the table of contents. Materials list. Historical note. This one's specifically just on the Impressionist movement, and then they're introducing new materials. Now the artist page. This one's actually about as long as the other one, as the previous volume. Here's the very last project in here. This one now is a bit longer. The information about additional artwork too, not just the one that we're focusing on for this lesson. The project is going to be completed over 2 sessions. Some of the projects they do need several sessions for, and they always make it clear, when you're looking at it, you need to do this part first, then you need to wait and do this part because it needs to dry, or usually because it needs to dry. Here's volume 7, Art of the Modern Age. table of contents. Now they're getting into acrylic painting and things like that. Supply list, the historical note, and then get right into the new art supplies with lesson 1 on acrylic painting. And we're covering a full page about the artist and then a bit about the painting and then the related project again. And we still have the pictures, sorry, they still have the questions about the picture to help the student see some of the details and draw them out. So the very last lesson in here, go back a page, is this one. You can see that it has really nice, all these books have really nice pictures of the art. It's really easy to see the details. And then here's the project. So in this one, it's again a multi-step project where you're making a relief sculpture and then you're painting the relief sculpture. So, and then here's the last volume in the series, volume 8. Here's the table of contents. And here's your supply list. This one, as you can see, is focusing a lot more on pencil work, so sketching and then coloring with colored pencils. Now that kids are a little bit older, have a little bit better fine motor skills, they're honing some of those skills here. So this is specifically about drawing. Second lesson, and then we're going to start to talk about elements of art and all the different techniques for sketching. So this, I think, is the last lesson in this book. Yep. So there's information about the artist, information about the painting, and then the very last activity in this book is drawing lines and shapes and really concentrating on the shading of the picture. And again, we've got the instructor sample, and then by this point, they have 2 student samples, one of a younger student and then one of an older student. So if you do have siblings tagging along, their art would perhaps look more like the younger student, and then your older kid would look more like that one. So that's cool. So far, my son has not been interested in tagging along with his sister, but if he did want to, it's nice that they have those samples there too. So that's a look at Artistic Pursuits. We have really enjoyed this program so far. We plan to continue using it after the K-3 volumes. They have 2 volumes for grades 4 through 6, so it's only 2 years of art for those 3 years, which is part of why we decided to start this one in 1st grade instead of kindergarten. And then they have middle school and high school level art as well. And I believe they're coming out, all of them, in this new edition with the DVD lessons. And that's really helpful for me, so I can just open it and have my daughter do it. And sometimes we do the projects together, and it's always a lot of fun. So I hope you found this helpful. I will put links in the description box below to all of these things on the publisher's website. Thank you for watching.